What's the buzz? This is Zeta Beetle, and welcome back to Galactic Swarm Squad. In this episode, I take a trip back into the past for the second time, and probably for the whole rest of the season, pretty much. Well, I say probably, it's actually going to be, certainly. So, yeah, this is what happens when you don't pay attention to what you've done, and you miss a few clips because of it. So let's get started. Well, I hope you're not too terribly tired of seeing the mission to harvest metal yet, because that's once again the main challenge of this clip. Yeah, this was a very, very, very long challenge. Much longer than it needed to be because I do not harvest materials. I just don't do either that or build. So that's why this took as long as it did, and why you're having to see it so many times in a row. So, here I really didn't have a choice because the storm had caught up to me, and yeah, it's not a particularly pretty picture when the storm catches up to you. You gradually take damage, and I don't even know what I'm doing here. Like, am I searching for something, or do I don't know. It's just a situation where I have no idea what my former thought process was. Mostly because this was recorded. Oh, jeez. So it was during a winter season, so essentially 2 or 3 years ago, honestly, at this point. But here I am driving a taxi out of Sweaty Sands, and doing a really terrible job at it. Like, I am fishtailing all over the road, and that is a perfect taxi flip. Like, you ever heard of the bottle flip challenge, where you try and land the bottle on its butt or bottom, you know, not on the lid or anywhere else, just flat on its bottom? That's what this was, except with a taxi. And I didn't even mean to do it. There was a bottle flip challenge in Fortnite in one season, but due to it happening before I even learned about the clipping system on the PlayStation 4, yeah, it ended up not even making it onto the system so that I could put it onto YouTube. However, if there is enough of a demand for the Fortnite series that came before this, then I will talk to Marty Jester, and we'll see what we'll be able to do. Maybe at some point we could do a video where we just won in every season that we took part in. Scratch that. With some limitations, we would be able to show off all of our wins. There are a few that we wouldn't actually be able to show off, due to the fact that we just simply did not manage to catch them on camera before the game updated, while we were putting the replays onto a practice DVD. And due to the sheer size of Chapter 2, Season 5, which is where this takes part in, and essentially I am essentially it ends up taking up a huge chunk of data on the system. The majority of Chapter 2 Season 6 was solely done in the replay style. There are a few exceptions, such as when the replays were glitched and could not and would not switch to me. But here we go. This is where the round ends, and this is where it shows up the challenge that this round is notable for. So, I believe it's about time to move on to the next round. And now we come to the first round that actually gets me a point. This time, I go for the challenge to upgrade weapons. Yeah, it's a very simple challenge, but it's actually a pretty crucial one in this point. Well, about as crucial as it is to get to 38 points when you're already ahead of someone. Probably at this point, I'm ahead of practically everyone else. I mean, look, I'm just cruising on to win the score war, unless any of the other two competitors can match me in points. I have this in the bag. Oh, excuse me. That was, yeah. That was an interesting one. So, here I am basically, going to, the place where Brutus is, and grabbing my weapon, that I'm going to be using. And, well, I say the weapon I'm going to be using. I may not use that one, or maybe I will. I don't know. Okay. Oh, well, look at that. I actually do. AK, the AK is basically, a slower firing, but more powerful version of the assault rifle. The thing about that is, I prefer the faster firing weapons. And generally, although I have changed in recent years, I go for an ambush style attack, which I see that VACCI has mimicked. If you don't know who that is, check on the 2 Leave It to VACCI episodes that have posted as of yesterday. So, essentially, who VACCI is, if you haven't learned of her from Fortnite Follies, is essentially a battle droid. So, I know Marty Jester has shown her extensively in Fortnite Follies, and for whatever reason, I have decided to upgrade the bolt action sniper rifle. Okay, so I guess I just do it as a way to upgrade all weapons. And guess what this one is? It's the quest to harvest metal again. Yay. But in all seriousness, yeah, this is the quest to harvest metal. Due to having missed these in my first pass, you have probably seen the mission get complete in an earlier episode. However, the point still remains that I'm just showing these off because I missed these earlier. So, essentially what I'm doing here is trying to snipe somebody while they're in a boat, moving around in the water. Which is generally faster than walking speed. And this is why I prefer the faster firing weapons. Because I struggle whenever my weapons don't fire really fast, and it ends up taking me out like what you just saw here. So, yeah. Moving on. And we go on to the next round that offers a point. This one is to harvest metal and to deal damage to a loot shark. So, yeah. This one is going to prove to be more exciting than the last one, just simply due to the fact that I'm about to come face to face with Fortnite's version of a great white shark. The only thing is, though, these sharks don't eat meat. They eat loot, like guns and materials and medical supplies, things like that, you know. But they are no less aggressive. As a matter of fact, they may even be more aggressive, because I don't think that a great white, unless it is desperate for food, lunges at you while you're on the land. I am not kidding. These things will literally jump out of the water and basically try landing a razor-sharp body slam on you. Imagine that for a little bit. This thing, I don't even know how heavy a great white shark is. Add the weight of that plus the metal of the guns, the plastic of a medkit, the metal, wood, brick, and pretty much every single material under the sun that constitutes to loot. This thing can eat it. So imagine having something like that, just full of items, just pounce right out of the water and hit you with razor-sharp teeth. Yeah. Terrifying imagery. You're pretty likely to die in that scenario. And speaking of medkit, there we go. I got one. So, once again, the metal is being harvested out of necessity. Not out of any real desire to complete the challenge. So, yeah. Due to being generally a big noob when it comes to building, I end up hating doing it. Which actually kind of makes the addition of zero build actually a stroke of mercy. Because in that scenario, everyone is limited exactly the same way as I am. But there's a catch to every godsend. When you're in a squad and you have a pro on your team, I think that pro would have to be a party leader to really affect what type of opponents you get. But if you get a skilled enough guy on your team as a party leader, the difficulty cranks way up, and you end up having a much harder time than you would in builds, if that makes sense. Well, there we go. And this one is honestly the most illegal and probably really strange challenges in the whole thing. This time I am driving a car through a field of corn. Although nowadays... Anyway, this is a simple enough challenge to understand and do. You just simply, take a car like this, drive it to Steele's farm, and then the car handles the rest. And there we go. That's that mission done. And this is the end of the whole Orchard versus Steele's Farm mini story, as this is the reconciliation chapter. This round, I am going to be driving a truck to the orchard. So essentially what this comes down to is Steele borrowed a truck from the orchard and its owner, Hayseed or Sunflower? I forget. Anyway, I drive the truck on Farmer Steele's behalf in order to get them to make up and just make every past issue water under the bridge. So, yeah. Here, I take out this Jonesy with a gray pistol, which is about the type of loot that you can expect when you respawn. Okay, I may need to mute this, but anyway. Here I'm going to be taking this truck and returning it to the orchard. And if I didn't damage that truck, it would be nothing short of a miracle. But the challenge didn't state that the truck had to be perfectly unharmed. It just simply said, drive it to the orchard. So that's what I did, and that's how it ends. And we have finally made it back to a round where I get absolutely 0 points. This time, I'm going to blow up fishing holes at Lazy Lake Island. I bet you thought I was going to say I'm going to go for the challenge to harvest metal, didn't you? Well, I can't be that predictable. I have to shake things up for you guys. Make things a little bit more interesting for you. Actually, in all seriousness, though, I don't know what my intentions were when I was recording all of these. Some of these are actually rounds that were split in half, but yeah. I think that's part of where all of the craziness comes in. This one, however, is a standalone clip that shows progress in something. So, yeah. I may have needed to get me a bottle of water so that I could actually commentate on this correctly, because I am having to clear my throat a lot. Anyway, so I go through the store at the orchard, and I pick up a lot of stuff here. It's actually kind of interesting that whoever owns the orchard isn't more angry at the players when they steal stuff like this from the orchard, like she totally was with Farmer Steele when he borrowed her truck and didn't give it back. But you know what? That may just be me nitpicking. Anyway, I start firing at this guy, who honestly makes the dumbest move that I have ever seen. Like, look at this guy. He was shooting me with a shotgun from far range. So I just ran over and said, "Here, let me show you the real correct way to use a shotgun." And when I got close enough to him, I plugged him in one blast. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you use a shotgun. I mean, I know it's not rocket science, but that guy seemed to think so. It could have been a bot, who knows. The AI players, in quotation marks, I don't think a lot of those are the brightest bulbs of the bunch. I mean, you saw that during the Fortnite Follies. Some of those guys looked... I can't even say... I don't even know what to say about their performance, because they do some weird things. And I've probably seen some of those weird things throughout the course of this series, and didn't even realize that was typical bot behavior. But, to be honest, one of the biggest parts of that, one of the biggest bot plays that I have seen on Fortnite Follies was by this player that was known as Beautiful Snow. You might have seen them a couple of times during Fortnite Follies. One time during the main season, and one time during the Rebuild the Block saga. In the latter, they were actually a good deal more competent, because when we had a bounty on Beautiful Snow, they actually attacked us, and were actually somewhat decent at providing a challenge. In the main season, on the other hand, they looked like... I don't even know. Like... they were at their dumbest, for sure. Like... I don't even know how to really explain it, because... I guess the best way is to describe exactly what happened, so that you get the picture as to what was going on. They were essentially swinging at air, and then they took out their guns and just shot in a random direction. And Spidey and Jester were able to take them down with incredible ease. But Beautiful Snow is just one of those AIs that seems to have a different AI level depending on what round you encounter them in, and essentially it can either be a decent challenge or a complete joke. Flip the coin, see what you get. So, here, it looks like I might be going into a IO bunker? Maybe? At least an IO storage shed by the looks of things. And if I haven't said it enough already, whenever I do post commentary like this, the window that I'm viewing this from is really tiny. So I can't really say much about what's going on here, because currently I'm a good piece away from the TV screen, and that little window is not really helping matters that much. Okay, so here I am going to be swimming across to Lazy Lake Island. And I know, without a hint of a doubt, that this is where I need to do the challenge. Except, it doesn't list me as having landed on Lazy Lake Island until I get right over here. And thus the challenge doesn't count until I threw that grenade. So I go to try and find another fishing hole, and manage to find the second one with relative ease. I have more than 2 grenades. However, there are no more than 2 fishing holes that I can blow up at this particular island. And I didn't know if the other island would give me the same results. So I go over to it anyway and pick up a blue XP coin. I'm not entirely sure why they decided to take the XP coin out of normal gameplay, but it's not really like they were a infinite way of getting XP in the first place. But I get taken out by this fox, and I need to go on. Well, that seems to about do it for this episode. Join me in the next one when I harvest metal, destroy boats, eliminate IO guards, and that's about it that I have on my notes so far. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Until then... adios, amigos.